They laughed quietly at first, not with sound, but with silence, the kind that pretends you are invisible, the kind that looks past you like you never mattered. You stood there carrying ideas that felt too big for your own chest, ideas you could not fully explain yet, but you knew they were alive. You knew something inside you was working. When nothing outside gave proof, you walked forward anyway. Not loud, not proud, just steady and patient because deep down you felt it. One day, they would stop laughing, not because you asked them to, but because reality would force them to. Before we go deeper, let me say this. If these words hit something inside you, if they feel like they are speaking your story, then pause for a moment and show love to this space, like the video, so this message reaches someone who needs it. Subscribe so you stay connected to this energy, and drop a comment, even a single word to mark your presence here, because your voice matters more than you think. And this journey is not meant to be walked alone. You see, the strange thing about being ahead of your time is that you look wrong before you look right. People judge with what they understand today, not what will make sense tomorrow. You are not ignored because you lacked value. You were ignored because your value could not be translated. Yet, you were speaking a language they had never learned, and instead of asking questions, they chose comfort. Instead of curiosity, they called you unrealistic, too quiet, too intense, too different. But different was never your weakness. It was the evidence that you were operating on another frequency. While they were busy fitting in, you were busy observing. While they chased approval, you chased understanding. While they followed paths already walked, you stood at the edge of the unknown and listened. Most people cannot sit in silence with their own thoughts, but you learn to live there. You learn to build there. You learn to sharpen your mind when nobody was watching. That is why when the moment came and the dots finally connected, it felt sudden to them, but it was years in the making for you. They did not see the nights where you questioned yourself, not because you were weak, but because you were honest. They did not see the patience it took to keep going without applause. They did not feel the weight of being misunderstood. In rooms full of people, they only saw the result and called it luck. They only saw the clarity and ignored the confusion that came before. But you know the truth, you know. Every step, every mistake, every lesson earned the hard way. There is a moment that arrives without warning when people who once doubted you stop talking. Not because you silenced them, but because reality did. They finally connect the dots, and in that instant, the noise disappears. No excuses, no opinions, no advice, just quiet respect, and sometimes even envy. Not the loud kind, but the kind that sits heavy behind the eyes, because they realize you were never lost, you were just early. You were building while they were judging you, were learning while they were assuming you were becoming, while they were comfortable. And comfort has a cost. It dulls the mind, it softens the will. It makes people afraid of depth. You paid a different price. You paid with isolation, patience, discipline, and belief. When belief felt unreasonable, and that payment created something rare, a mind that does not panic, a vision that does not shake, and a presence that does not need validation. Understand this. Genius is not about knowing everything. It is about seeing connections others miss. It is about staying with a problem longer than most are willing. It is about curiosity that refuses to die. You did not wake up one day. Brilliant, you became it through attention, through observation, through humility and relentless focus. And when they finally saw the pattern, they were shocked. Not because you changed overnight, but because they were not paying attention. Silence from doubters is one of the loudest victories, because it means there is nothing left to say. Their arguments expired, their assumptions collapsed under proof, and now all that remains is truth, standing calm and undeniable. You do not need to celebrate loudly. You do not need revenge or recognition. The silence itself is the confirmation that your work spoke clearly enough. Remember this moment not to feed your ego, but to anchor your discipline, because the same focus that brought you here is the focus that will take you further. Do not slow down, because others noticed. Do not explain yourself now that they are curious. Keep building, keep refining, keep listening to that inner voice that guided you when no one else did, because that voice has already proven it knows the way. Some people will try to rewrite history. They will say, they always believed in you. Let them say it. Their words do not change your journey. Others will suddenly seek your advice after years of doubt. Do not be bitter. Be selective. Your energy is valuable, your time is precise, and your vision deserves protection. Not everyone who claps deserves a seat at the table you built in silence. There is a reason you felt out of place for so long. It was never punishment. It was preparation. You were being trained to think independently, to trust your process, and to move without permission. Those skills do not come from easy paths. They come from long walks alone with nothing but your thoughts and the courage to keep going. And now that the dots are connected, the picture is clear. You are not lost. You are becoming. Let this be a reminder on the days ahead when progress feels invisible again, because it will feel that way. Sometimes growth is quiet, mastery is subtle, and impact often whispers before it roars. Do not measure yourself by noise. Measure yourself by alignment, by clarity, by the calm confidence that comes from knowing you are doing the work even when no one is watching. They went silent because there was nothing left to deny, and you stayed calm because there was nothing left to prove. That is power, not the kind that shouts, but the kind that stands firm, not the kind that seeks attention, but the kind that commands respect without asking. Carry that with you. Move forward with it, and remember the same mind they once overlooked is the mind that changed the outcome without ever needing permission. And as you move forward, understand this. Silence will not always feel comfortable at first, because you grew used to resistance. You grew used to pushing against doubt, and now the absence of it can feel strange. But do not confuse silence with emptiness. This quiet is space for bigger thinking, deeper creation, and cleaner execution. This is where real work accelerates, because nothing is pulling you back into explanations you no longer need to give. You will notice something subtle begin to happen. People will watch you more than they speak. They will study your moves instead of questioning your motives. This is not coincidence. This is recognition happening internally before it ever becomes external. They are recalibrating their understanding of you because the version they labeled no longer exists, and the version standing now does not fit their old narrative. Stay grounded in this phase, because this is where many lose balance, not by failure, but by attention. Remember, you were forged without applause, so do not let applause reshape you. Keep your routines tight, keep your standards higher than your mood, and keep your focus anchored to progress, not perception. The world can be loud again very quickly, and discipline is what keeps you immune to distraction. There will be moments when you feel tempted to explain how hard it was, how long it took, how deeply you doubted yourself. Resist that urge. Your story does not need justification. Your consistency already told it. The strongest statement you can make now is continued growth. Let your next level speak on behalf of your past struggles. What they see now is only the surface, the clarity, the confidence, the precision. They still do not see the internal architecture, the way your mind connects patterns, the way you anticipate outcomes before they appear. the way you stay calm when pressure rises. This is not something you show. It is something you live, and living it daily is what separates temporary success from lasting impact. Understand that genius is not a destination. It is a responsibility. It means you must keep questioning, keep refining, and keep learning. Even when others slow down, you cannot afford mental comfort zones. Your strength comes from staying sharp, curious, and disciplined. Even when things are working, especially when things are working, some days the silence will be replaced by expectations. People will assume you have it all figured out, that everything comes easy. Now let them assume what they want. Your job is not to match their assumptions. Your job is to stay honest with your process. Growth still requires effort, still demands humility, and still rewards patience. The moment you believe you have arrived is the moment progress begins to decay. You are not here to impress. You are here to build something meaningful, something precise, something that lasts long after opinions change. That is why your pace feels different. That is why your thinking feels heavier. And that is why your presence shifts rooms without words. Power does not rush it, arrives prepared. When doubt tries to return, as it sometimes will remind yourself of this moment, remind yourself that clarity always follows, commitment and silence always follows truth. You did not chase validation, you chased understanding, and understanding turned into results. This formula does not expire, it only compounds. Keep choosing depth over noise, keep choosing focus over frenzy, and keep choosing integrity over shortcuts. The world is full of fast voices and shallow winds, but very few can sustain excellence quietly. That is where you live now, in the space where work speaks before words and results arrive without announcement. And when you look back, do not smile, because they finally saw it smile, because you never stopped believing when no one else did. That belief was not loud, it was steady, and steady is what carried you through confusion, through isolation, and through every unseen hour that shaped the mind you stand with today. Move forward with calm intensity. Let curiosity guide you, discipline guard you, and purpose ground you. The dots are connected now, not because you demanded recognition, but because truth eventually becomes impossible to ignore, and you were patient enough to let it happen. As time moves forward, you will realize the most powerful shift did not happen around you. It happened within you. Your reactions changed, your patience deepened, and your confidence no longer needed evidence. Every step you take now is intentional, not rushed, not emotional, but deliberate. This is the mindset that outlasts trends and survives pressure, because it is built on understanding rather than impulse. You will start seeing patterns faster than others. You will sense outcomes before they unfold, and you will trust that sense without needing permission. This is not arrogance, this is alignment. When your actions match your insight, hesitation fades and clarity sharpens. You are no longer asking if you can, you are deciding how you will. There will be moments when the past tries to pull you back, when old voices echo with familiar doubts, but they no longer land the same, because you have proof, not external proof, but internal certainty, and that kind of certainty cannot be shaken by opinion. It was earned through experience, repetition, and self-honesty. You may notice fewer people walking beside you now, not because you pushed them away, but because the path narrowed. Growth does that. It filters distractions and refines connections, until only what aligns can keep up. This is not loneliness. This is precision, and precision is necessary when the stakes are higher. Every move you make now carries weight because you understand cause and effect. You understand timing and restraint. You know when to speak and when to observe. You know when to act and when to wait. This balance did not come naturally. It was learned through mistakes and reflection, and that is why it lasts. People often think power looks like constant motion, but real power knows when stillness creates the biggest shift. You learn this in silence, when nothing seemed to change, yet everything was aligning beneath the surface. Roots grow in darkness long before anything breaks through the ground. Do not underestimate how far you have come. Just because the journey felt quiet, the absence of chaos does not mean the absence of progress. In fact, it often means the opposite. You are building something stable, something that would not collapse under attention or pressure. As you continue forward, keep refining your standards, not based on who is watching, but based on who you are becoming. Excellence is a habit, not an event, and habits are built when no one is counting the points. You are past the stage of needing motivation. Now, you move on commitment. There will be days when momentum feels slow, when results lag behind. Effort, remember, this is not a sign to stop. It is a sign to stay consistent, because delayed results are still results in formation. Most people quit in this phase because they mistake silence for failure. You know better now. You also understand that not every battle needs your energy, not every opinion needs your response, and not every opportunity deserves your attention. Discernment becomes your strength, because you value depth over distraction and progress over performance. The world may try to rush you into boxes, titles, labels, expectations, but you do not move for noise. You move for purpose. You are not here to fit a role. You are here to define one, and that takes time, focus, and a willingness to stand alone when necessary. As you build further, you will notice something else. Your presence changes. The environment without force. People feel calmer, more focused, more aware around you. Because clarity is contagious and grounded, energy stabilizes chaos. This is leadership without announcement, influence without demand. Keep protecting your mind the same way you protect your future. Feed it quality thoughts, challenge it with questions, and keep it humble enough to learn. Every day, intelligence grows when curiosity stays alive and ego stays in check. You are not finished evolving. This is only another layer, another level of awareness, another responsibility. The journey does not end when others recognize your value. It deepens because now you must honor it with action, consistency, and integrity. When obstacles appear, and they will remember you have already navigated confusion, uncertainty, and doubt. This is familiar terrain for you. You do not panic. You assess, you adapt, and you move forward. That is your advantage. You are trained in the unseen. Let your work continue to speak. Let your focus remain sharp, and let your silence remain intentional. You do not need to announce your next move. Those who understand will see it when it arrives, and those who do not are not your concern. One day, you will look back at this version of yourself and recognize the quiet strength it took to keep going. Without guarantees that strength is now part of you, it does not fade. It compounds, and it will carry you through challenges you have not yet imagined. Stay disciplined, stay curious, and stay aligned with the deeper reason you started. Not for applause, not for approval, but because something inside you needed to be built, and you were brave enough to answer that call. The dots are connected now, not just for them, but for you. And with that clarity comes responsibility to keep growing, keep refining, and keep moving forward with calm conviction. You are not chasing recognition anymore. You are creating impact, and impact speaks for itself. From here onward, your awareness becomes sharper and sharper. You begin to feel time differently. Moments slow down when focus locks in and speed up. When distractions fade, you are no longer reacting to life, you are directing it with calm intention. This is the phase where discipline becomes identity and effort feels natural because you are aligned with what you are meant to build. You will notice that pressure no longer scares you. It clarifies you when challenges rise. Your mind does not scatter. It narrows you. Breathe deeper. You think cleaner and you act with purpose. This is not talent. This is training, earned through repetition and patience. You stayed when it was uncomfortable, and now discomfort works for you, not against you. People may try to pull you back into old versions of yourself through memories, expectations, or labels, but those versions no longer exist. You have outgrown them quietly and completely. Growth does not announce itself. It simply moves on, and you are allowed to move on without guilt, without explanation, and without looking back. There will be moments when success feels lonely, not because something is missing, but because fewer people can relate to the level of responsibility you carry. Now, understand this. Loneliness is not emptiness. It is space, and space is necessary for vision. The higher you think, the quieter it becomes, and you have learned how to stand steady in that quiet. Your standards will continue to rise, not out of ego, but out of respect for your potential. You will no longer accept half effort, shallow thinking, or misaligned paths, because you know the cost of compromise. You paid too much in patience and focus to waste energy. Now this clarity protects you and keeps your path clean. Every day you show up without needing applause, without needing reassurance, and without needing permission. This consistency shapes your future faster than bursts of motivation ever could. You are building something that lasts because it is built on habits, not moods. And habits are unshakable when rooted in purpose. As you continue, remember this. The silence they gave you before shaped you. The silence they give you now confirms you, but neither defines you. What defines you is the work you do, when no one is watching, and the integrity you keep. When no one is counting, you are not here to prove anything. You are here to continue becoming. Let your focus remain deep. Let your pace remain steady, and let your mind remain open to learning. You are still evolving, still sharpening, still expanding. And that is the real power, the willingness to grow beyond every version of yourself, including the one that finally got recognized. Keep going without announcement. Keep building without noise. And keep trusting the process that already proved itself. The dots are connected, the path is clear, and the work continues, not louder, not faster, but stronger, deeper, and more intentional than ever before. As you continue walking this path, you will begin to understand that clarity is addictive. Once you taste it, you cannot go back to confusion driven by noise or opinions. You become protective of your mental space because you know how fragile focus can be and how powerful it is when guarded. You choose what enters your mind the same way you choose what builds your future. You will stop chasing urgency and start mastering timing. You will know when to wait and when to move without forcing. Either this patience is not passive, it is strategic. It allows you to see what others miss because they rush past the details that define outcomes. You learn that speed without direction is just movement, and movement alone does not create impact. At times you may feel disconnected from the rush of the world while everyone else reacts. You observe while they speak. You listen while they hurry. You slow down. This does not make you behind it, puts you ahead, because awareness always outpaces reaction, and you have trained awareness in silence for years. There will be days when you remember how it felt to be doubted, how heavy it was to carry. Belief alone. Do not resent those memories. They are part of your strength. They keep you grounded. They remind you why you work the way.